Welcome to Mr. Thompson's Math Tutorials. Today we're going to be looking at probability from a tree diagram. So I've got this situation here where the Titan basketball team has a game today against a tough team, and they think their probability of winning this game is 4 out of 7. They play a weaker team tomorrow, and that's just before the semifinals. And the game tomorrow, they think they have a probability of 4 out of 5 of winning. So if they win both games, they're the top team in the semifinals. So that's some good news. And what we're going to be doing is using a tree diagram to help us kind of figure out some probabilities of them making the top team in the semifinals. So this is a tree diagram, and this W right here stands for a win. And this W tick stands for a loss, because it would be sort of the opposite of a win. Now, we know that they think that their chances of winning are 4 out of 7. Well, how do I figure out their chances of losing? Well, in a probability, all possible probabilities have to add up to 1. So this would be 4 out of 7 plus something that equals 1. Well, the only thing that would work would be 3 out of 7. So they have a 3 out of 7 chance of losing. Now, this is for today, okay? So for tomorrow, their chances of winning, they think, are 4 out of 5. And once again, this W2 is the wins, and this W tick 2 is the loss, okay? It's the outside of that. So this would be 1 out of 5. This would be, of course, 4 out of 5 still, and this would be 1 out of 5. Okay. So we have to figure out what are the probabilities of these things happening. So let's figure out all the probabilities, and then we'll answer some of the questions based on that. So we're going to follow the branches of the tree. And so let's start with this. If they win the first game and then win the second game, what are the probabilities of that happening? So the probabilities of 2 wins are going to be equal to the probability of winning the first game times the probability of winning the second game. So this is going to be equal to 4 times 4, which is 16, and 7 times 5, which is 35. So their probability of 2 wins is 16 out of 35. Okay, so let's follow another branch of the tree. So here we go. Let's say that they have a win today and a loss tomorrow. So what are the chances of that happening? So that is the probability of 1 win and then 1 loss. Sorry, I need to write that more clearly. 1 win, 1 loss. Okay? And so that's going to be equal to the probability of a win, which is 4 out of 7, times the probability of their loss, which is 1 out of 5. So this is going to give me 4 times 1, which is 4, and 7 times 5, which is 35. Okay? Good. And now we're going to follow another branch of the tree. So let's say they lose the first game, but win the second game. So this is going to be the probability of 1 win. Sorry, not 1 win. Got to keep my order correct. 1 loss, and then 1 win. Okay, and this is going to be equal to 3 out of 7 times 4 out of 5. Okay, and so let's see, 3 times 4 is 12, and 7 times 5 is 35. Okay, good. Now let's see the next one. 3 out of 7, so they lose their first game and they lose their second game. So that's going to be 2 losses. So the probability of 2 losses, so this is P, 2 losses. And let's see what that's equal to. That's going to be a 3 out of 7 on the first loss times a 1 out of 5 on the second loss. So this would be a 3 out of 35. Now, if you remember, it was this for probabilities in general. It was 16 out of 35, and then there was 4 out of 35, and then there was 12 out of 35, and lastly there was 3 out of 35. Now, the interesting thing is if you add all of these, you'll see that this actually equals to 35 over 35, which is important because I just told you that all probabilities in a given event have to add up to 1. Okay, so that would give me all of those probabilities for all of those scenarios. All right, so let's answer some questions based on this. So there was our tree diagram, right there. And this was 4 out of 7, and this was 3 out of 7, and this was, let me write that more clearly, 3 out of 7. This was 4 out of 5, 1 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 1 out of 5. Okay, so what's the probability of winning both games? Okay, so the probability of 2 wins is going to be equal to the probability of winning the first game, which is 4 out of 7, times the probability of the second game. And we already saw from the other page that this was 16 out of 35. Okay, what's the probability of losing the first game but winning the second game? So the probability of 1 loss and 1 win. Okay, and that's going to be equal to the probability of the loss, which is 3 out of 7, times the probability of the win, which is 4 out of 5. So this would be, let's see, that would be 12 over 35. All right, thank you for watching.